So we've been working on these headlights, which are kind of cool, but they're actually really cool. They do full RGB addressable. And the way we've been going about it is the individually addressed LEDs. We make rings of these LEDs and then made a nice cover for it as well. Mainly because you couldn't buy these for this particular vehicle. Here's an example. This has been our test piece that we've been abusing just to see how everything holds together. It pulls apart a bit, but it's pretty good. And they're all diffused and whatnot. So that got me thinking, right? This is all really cool. Really cool. But it got me thinking that I could do this one step farther for my truck. No kind of fancy car that has cool headlights like that. My truck headlights are very square. It's a 94 Chevy Silverado, so it's got really square headlights. Wouldn't look that cool with this stuff. And they do make the kit very similar for my truck already, so that's not unique. But what is unique is taking a light bar and replacing every LED with addressable LEDs and doing the same color scheme madness. And by using a Blue Ghost controller, it would actually give the ability to do all of the show modes and do white for running light, split it to where the left half is for left turn signal, the right half is for right turn signal, and have all of that goodness with the controller on a light bar. So that's the next project I'm going to work on, getting this light bar, fully addressable RGB LEDs inside of the light bar, not the perimeter strip ones, which you can already buy, and not a full RGB bar that changes from red, green, and blue the entire bar. But we're talking Dancy mode from there all the way down and back. It's going to be so cool. I am going to log this build because I think it is something that's going to be very neat and other people will be very interested in. So this is the start. To start off with, I just picked this up used. It was $100. It works perfectly fine. Everything about it works fine. It's a little beat up, a little rough. I'm going to clean all this up while we get it apart. All the screws look to be very nice, though. They're not going to be troublesome to get out. There is a small ding here. Once again, kind of superficial. And we'll probably end up repainting, and doing some of that work while it's apart. Likely we'll end up anodizing these out bits because we can, and I might do them a cool color like red to match the red truck. And we're going to gut all of the electronics inside of here, which shouldn't be too much other than a bit of circuitry and a whole lot of Cree LEDs. And then we are going to painstakingly put an LED in each spot right there to replace the existing LEDs. And then after that, we're going to do the wiring, which, as known from experience, is fairly tedious and takes a bit of time. 96 LEDs, I think I counted in here. That's going to run at 5 volts. It's going to be a few amps of current. It's going to draw at 5 volts, so I'm going to have to do a 5 volt regulator, obviously. But these individual circuits seem to only come in the WS2812s, which are 5 volt. If they were in the 11s, we could do it as 12 volt, which would be even better, but whatever, not a big deal. So I'm going to get the whole thing taken apart to begin with. Okay, so I got the light bar all ripped apart, and this is what we're dealing with. So they had there's a few pieces of this. There's 3 in total, 1, 2, and 3 to run the span. And then these are just held in with a single screw. So I think what I'm going to do is 3D print something that takes about 3 sections. And it essentially just gives me this board that I can then glue the new lights onto. I'm going to try that first. And I'll do a mirrored version of it so that I can actually, as a template, so I can set the lights in face down and then solder them all together. And then I'll have them in sections of 6. 1, 2, 3 if you look at it that way, but in those 3s in those threes, and then it'll solder into the next three. All right, got some measurements done and taken care of. Just basically, like I said, redesigning this in a group of 4. I moved that over into CAD. I've done it kind of modularly. So here's a single one, which we'll obviously print to test first. Principle obviously here is that the light sets in here, and then there's a void underneath for the wiring to continue across. Modular, so then we can do packs of 4, which are an even number for this light since to work. The center hole is the mounting hole for the lens thing, I don't know, whatever you call it, reflector, I guess. And then the other 2 holes on either side are just optional mounting holes because these had them as well. So there's a hole and then 2 optional mounting holes. And some of the mounting holes were actually used to hold the whole fixtures in. So I figure on every 4 I'll have one on at least on the outer 2 to screw it in tight. And honestly, I'm just gonna glue the lights in here. I'm hoping the fitment between the lights, the thickness of this plate, and the back plate is the amount that we see here on this reflector. So there's a few millimeters. So when this tightens in, it will actually help hold the lights to the print, and then the print obviously is held to the light bar itself, to the back housing. I'm not worrying about heat distribution. The lights these lights here, these are already mounted on small pieces of aluminum, so they have their own get that to focus, self-dissipating heat. Also, I've done a fair bit of work with these now. They don't get really that hot because they're not crazy bright. And believe me, I do know that I'm going to be sacrificing a ton of brightness to go this route, but I don't care. I want this. I think this is way cool. So next step is to get these printed. It's getting a little late here tonight, so I will probably be printing one of these test pieces in the morning. If everything works out, I will print one of the 4 and start assembling the one of 4. So I'm just printing off a test single piece here. Make sure everything fits okay before we print the quad pieces, the lengths of 4. So this is going to take about 20 minutes, so it's going to be a reasonable amount of time to be doing this. This is just PLA that I'm using, which I'm going to try, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll go from there. Okay, so here's the principle, fresh off the printer. So this is why I did a 1 step. You can see I do need to raise things up. I would like the lens against the PCB like that, rather than the way it sits here now, where it's kind of floating. I would like the lens to actually be what really holds the lights in. So not a big deal. I just got to raise the thickness on the light holders. Here's version 2. It's just mildly thicker. Will give more room for my wiring behind, which actually will be an advantage. And with the piece pressed on, you can see there's a small gap where the screw goes, meaning that it is touching. It's actually holding off on the capacitors and resistors. But even if it wasn't, there would be enough room there that when the screws tighten down, it's actually holding it all as one piece. Nothing's ever going to fall out. And then I don't even need glue. And these are actually quite a good press fit as well. So I'll just assemble one screw per 4, so that's actually 4 screws per quad, and it'll be plenty strong. I am super excited to see how this turns out. So I have discovered, I'm just doing some testing, I've discovered a small problem. This is white. It doesn't quite look white on the camera, but that's just 100% of everything. And putting the lens on, still looks white, except up here, it separates the colors. So instead of white, you end up with the colors separated. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. Also seems to be significantly brighter with the lens on. So like on the ceiling, can't hardly see it. Put the lens on it, you can definitely see it. So, and that's only 1 pixel. See how it splits the colors? It's only 1 pixel, 1 lens, and it is daytime. Like I turned the lights off in the kitchen, but it is daytime. Plenty bright outside. So I'm not too sure about the colors looking. Even when you shine through there, you almost get glimpses of different colors. So it might not be very practical for actually shining on things at all. Here's the quad one going. Even though the colors aren't going to line up, I'm still going to try it out. I'm going to do the whole thing and see. Worst case scenario, it's a bunch of wasted time. I could reclaim the LEDs, and 3D print material is really cheap, so not a big deal. Okay, so I soldered up a full strip here, one of two, 48 pixels per. It's looking pretty good, and actually with that much, it kind of made it white again. Like, it's still multicolored, but compared to only having like one set of them, the multiple sets definitely adding a ton more white. So they might end up working okay. Still nowhere near as bright as original, but still daytime out, obviously. Pretty decent. I'll turn the whole strip on so you can see. So this is the kind of features that I'll be able to do by doing it this way. And it's gonna shine out like that too. So that's why I don't really care if it's not white when it's white. And like I said, with the Ghost controller, I'll be able to split this bar into two sections, and then like right-hand turn signal, left-hand turn signal. So that'll be kind of neat. But I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I like these ones. So the original bar had these on the outside, and I'm thinking what I might do is go every other one. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to play with it, get them in there and then play with it. They reflect better. They make the white much more white up top, but not quite as bright either. And here's both strips done. Spencer's helping me.
Yay!
He notices a slight difference between this color to here and this color. That is a different brand of lights, so I'll probably order more and replace those just because I don't like it being different. I knew that might happen, but all in all, it's actually not too bad.
I'm just scared you're gonna fall off your butt.
That's mode 1, which treats it as a full strip. Mode 2 treats it as like a single strip. This is all from that Ghost controller. Definitely the one I'm gonna use. Happy to report, it's white. It shines white. Hallelujah. It's actually pretty bright. Like, that's pretty significant. I'm very happy with this. It's not fully done. I just reassembled it to have a look. That's pretty bright. Not super bright, but pretty bright. This is definitely the kind of modes that I feel will be so cool with this. You just add a show or whatever, and then this just happens, and people are like, what the heck is going on? Even though it's just white, it's oh, what the heck. I'll make it multicolored now. See? Also, what the heck? Super neat. Then, of course, there's the obvious modes that probably shouldn't be used. But, you know, they're there. So there it is, solid white. It's definitely got that RGB white color to it, but that's not really half bad brightness. Like, this is dark. It's dark outside. I got this kitchen light on. Let me turn that off. It'll be dark. Like, that's pretty good. always hard to tell on the camera. The camera, just to be blunt, looks a lot more white than it does in real life. In real life, it's got definitely a bluey tinge, and I know you can kind of see it in there. There are some of the colors still showing up, but ultimately, I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna try like a yellowish orange, like a fog light. That's actually, once again, looks pretty white on the camera, but that's a pretty cool color. I feel like it would cut through the fog all right. Real bright. I still think modes like this are going to end up being my favorite because they're so subtle. It's like, why is it doing that? You know, it's not like, oh, that's cool, it's RGB or whatever, see you later. It's like, that's a light bar. Why is it flickering like that? I don't know if you can see, but there's actually a color difference starting right here from that one to that one. This bottom bit I had to finish out with a different brand of lights, and it's actually definitely a different color. It's like a white and a purple, but I ordered replacements to match these ones, so I'm not going to run this too much longer because I don't want to make the hours on these any more than the hours that are going to be on those new ones, but it's at least good enough for testing. I got to pull it all apart anyways because, like I said, this was a used light bar to begin with, so it's got some decent dings and scratches in it and stuff. I'm gonna give this a coat of paint, and then I'm gonna anodize the outside red. I think I mentioned that. And then there's a cover bar that goes across here. I'm gonna try and do that too, but it's almost, I think it's 48 inches long, so I'll have to make some sort of vat to kind of boil that in. It's not gonna be easy, so we'll see how it goes. But definitely the ends I'm gonna do red, just once again because I can. Putting the effort into it, right? Might as well go 110. Just started the paint stripping. This stuff I actually got on Amazon. Sometimes, you know, just their aerosol aircraft stripper. That one works really good too, where you can get different varieties from different places. I don't know, but it's peeling up nice. It's gonna leave for a paint-free finish that I can then give a quick blast over and anodize. That's what I'm hoping for. Hoping for a nice red anodizing. But we will see how that turns out as well, because I am very inexperienced and a lot has been trial and error thus far. So we will continue to trial and error on this project. All right, so the paint stripping left me with this. See, some parts are nice, but the oxidized parts are just gross. So I just sandblasted it because I thought that might be the quickest and easiest. And at least it's even now, but still pretty pitted from the oxidization. And then obviously the sandblast texture. So I think what I might end up doing is just painting them, because I'm pretty sure that if I anodize this, I won't be happy with the result. But I'll just paint it. I've got some red, almost color match paint for the truck, so it'll make it look nice. And it'll be easier to paint those long pieces. And at the same time, I've given the outside a quick coat of paint. Nothing fancy, just a little bit of black to make it rejuvenated. And then the long strips that hold the lens in, I'll paint those the same red as I paint this stuff. Okay, so I'm just hitting these up with some filler primer. Not a real reason that was the most primer I had, but it is going to help really fill in the pitting from sandblasting, which will be nice, but not strictly necessary. I'm probably going to skip sanding the filler primer and just go straight to paint. Just gave it a first coat of red. Looking pretty sweet, if you ask me. I think this is going to look really cool and tie the whole thing together all the way around, doing these bars and those. And the finish is coming out pretty good. I'm going to put a bunch of layers of clear on it just to help protect everything. Make sure if when I scratch the heck out of it, it kind of just scratches the clear. He's learning real fast. He just grabbed that remote, went over to the light, stood it up like that, came back over here to look at it. And now he's complaining that it doesn't work. He's gonna be a great help.
Right.
Say hi.
I help.
Why is the light not turning on? Is it broken?
Yeah.
We'll fix it. Just added the red to the black. It's looking so good. I'm so excited to do the rest. Just get to solder this up. I ran 4 wire up here, obviously a plus and minus, but then a data in and a data out, because obviously these are addressable. So the data out would allow to go to another light bar or other lights, underglow, whatever. I figured just by having it wired would make it useful. I ran a pretty heavy gauge because this is going to be 5 volts. Be not a ton of amps, but a couple of amps probably. Want to make sure there's lots of room for current. You get soldered up and closed up the rest of the way and see how it looks. Here it is, all completed and assembled. Looking pretty good. Paint job turned out all right. There's a few imperfections, but not a big deal considering it was a used light bar. Those are not the brackets I'm going to mount it with, but they're just ones here to show it off. The lighting obviously looks a lot better in real life. It's hard to see the lights on the camera. Hoping to get it mounted on the truck. This is what like a show mode does on the wall. Hoping to get it mounted on the truck, but it is wintertime, so I might not. It's never been mounted before. It's not like I just go bolt it back up. 20/20 hindsight, I probably should have mounted it all before painting and everything. I'm not dragging it everywhere and trying to line up brackets, but it'll be fine, I'm sure. It turned out pretty good. I'm liking the trace around the red trace. Part of me thinks maybe I should have done the fins in red as well. Tie it all together as one color, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's gonna look like on there. This probably isn't my forever light bar. I'm likely gonna end up selling this one and then buying another new one doing the same task over. That way I don't have all these little like dings and stuff in it. I can put my own dings in it. But yeah, try and get it on the truck next before I end the video, but if the video ends here, it's because I didn't get it on the truck and was impatient. All right. Had to order new brackets. The ones I had didn't fit. These fit pretty good. Got it mounted right where I wanted it. Would have fit better up a little higher, but I wanted it there. And this red doesn't match the truck red, but it's close. I think it matches the factory red a little more. I used that same paint back here. You can see the tape line where I painted it on the top. It's pretty close to the factory red. But oh, it's looking good. I'll wait till it's a little darker to turn it on. So here it is in daylight. Looks pretty good. And that's like daylight, daylight. Sun's still up, daylight. I am loving this so much. It's turning out exactly how I wanted. Yeah, that mode works too. The other variety of that mode, this mode will get deleted from the app while I'm driving for obvious reasons. Don't need that being an accident. All right, here it is at nighttime. It's actually like kind of bright. I'll put it to full white so you can see it. That's how much it lights up. Not crazy good, but not bad. It looks bright. It looks like a bright light bar. Well, that's the project anyways. Turned out pretty good, I think. Got me what I'm looking for. Okay, I got it hooked into the turn signals. I know I said the video was over, but here I go, working on it some more. Looks pretty freaking cool. I'll put the 4-ways on. 4-ways on this truck flash a lot faster. I'm not too sure why. I've been told that's not normal, but it does it. So, same thing with the bar. Looks pretty cool.